Okay. Okay, the recording started and the presentation has begun. Everybody, thank you very much for joining us here today. My name is Dean Lorenzo. I'm a student at Red River College Polytechnic in the Business IT program. I'll be the moderator for this session, aiding our esteemed guest speaker today, Mr. George Mui. He studied at the Illinois Institute of Technology, where he's obtained a bachelor's and a master's degree in computer science. He's worked the earlier part of his career through corporate progression, from being a software engineer, network architect, project manager, and then into product management, and then marketing director, a role where he grew his business unit from $120 million to $400 million in only 3 years. But it's not a contest. Okay, it was a contest, fairly. His career has seen many transitions, from research and development, business management, small business to large corporations. He's worked in the private sector, the public sector, nonprofit organizations. He's even worked for the U.S. Department of Commerce. He's done extensive work to advocate Asian American businesses, and it's a role with the U.S. Department of Commerce where he'd offered public service through the Minority Business Development Agency. He served as a senior advisor for the White House Initiative on Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, where he's grown business portfolios and supported Asian American and Pacific Islander small businesses all across America. Acquire business acumen is the main inspiration for his talk today. Thank you, George, for joining us, and please do your business.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Thank
you. I appreciate Manuel for inviting me, and I want to say good afternoon, Canada. I'm coming to you from Tampa, Florida. So it seems to be we have a little bit of internet signal interference, and most likely it's because we're so far away from Canada at Tampa, USA. I'm seeing you going in and out. I'm not sure if I'm going in and out of your screen, Dean. Just want to double.
Yes, you do. When you do go out when that happens, it might be, I'm guessing, maybe an internet connection.
Yeah, this is the best I could do. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So I do want to do a sound check, and I know you have the capacity, Dean, to see messages from everyone.
Yes.
Okay, so let me do a sound check. See if I don't know, all hear me, and just wait.
Yeah, we hear from Mayo-kun. He says we can hear you good.
Okay, well, Mile, the second question is, do you understand? I do know I speak with a Hong Kong, Chinese, British, grew up in Southside Chicago, American accent. So that's difficult sometimes to understand. Yep. Anyway, so I do want to appreciate, I want to say I appreciate your listening. And I've been asked and working with Dean and Manuel, kind of share my story as a and kind of work. And I do know that from IT to, I'm going to attempt to do that. Along the way, have prepared a few questions. So I have prepared a set of slides for you, just kind of go through my journey, but I don't have to go through the whole slide. What I'm going to do and working with Dean is to go through about a portion and finish the rest. Internet?
We still seem to be getting some interference when you're chatting there. Okay. Right now, as I speak, though, I don't quite see it. And this is my guess. It might just be from the upload.
The feed.
Yeah. Maybe do a little bit more speaking. It was more noticeable when you were speaking just now. See, right?
Seems like it's only allowing you to speak, Dean.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's give it a shot. and if there's a problem, I don't know what we're going to do to adjust it.
Actually, I do have one quick suggestion then.
Yes.
Maybe just disable your video for right now and then speak for the next 30 seconds. I only notice it when you have continuous dialogue that it does this. Okay, now are you able to speak? Let's hear you and see if
I
that.
can't talk without a video. That's the I have to see myself talking. No, I'm just kidding. Is this better?
Actually, it does not cause. I think it might be the video that might be using
The
up a lot of
feed?
the bandwidth.
Okay, let me go up, pull up my PowerPoint and see how they go.
Okay.
Can you see my slides?
Yep. See your slides.
Okay, I can hear you. That's good. So
Yep.
I'm gonna go ahead and okay. I'm in PowerPoint slideshow mode. Are you seeing the screen?
Yes. We have visual contact.
Okay, I can't hear you now.
Okay. Hmm.
Okay, hopefully you can hear me, Dean.
Yep. I can hear you.
Okay, I just want to quickly go over the agenda. One is what I want to do is go through a quick presentation of what I call the most unlikely career journey. And what I want to just quickly walk through my career journey and stop for answering questions, whatever the question you might have. So as I said earlier, I'm going to attempt to break this into two presentation, 10 minutes each, and then we're going to do a Q&A, and then another 10 minutes, and then Q&A.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, so this is me speaking with Dean. Just want to give you this. I'm not sure all of you have seen this. Hopefully this will work. What inspired me the most is actually the ability to help people. And I'm always happy to help people to kind of go through what I did with them and see how I could inspire them to maximize their career opportunity. And I guess to summarize, what inspired me is my ability to inspire other people to help them along the way. Okay, that's at the moment I have a small consulting group as part of my semi-retirement. My consulting group does include international business development. Unfortunately, last 2 years it didn't go so well with the pandemic, but so I've been doing a lot of online training as a way to pass my time and share my experience. I call this working with fun scenario. I call this my farmhouse to White House. Not to say I became the president of the United States, which is virtually impossible since I wasn't born in this country. But I did attend and lead a few meetings at the White House. So I call this the farmhouse to the White House because I grew up in a pigeon farm in Hong Kong. And nobody actually believes me. So I always show this picture of my family in front of. So just a quick background is grew up in Hong Kong, went to high school in Chicago, got my bachelor in computer science and master in computer science at IIT. I went through a couple of executive education. That's where actually I acquired a lot of business acumen. I always say that I learn what I need to know, not that I know it, but I have 14 MBA working for me who should know everything I need to know. So they do the work for me. Quick career journey. Started as programmer, small company. Went to AT&T Bell Labs and become the technical manager, really responsible for all phases of R&D until I got promoted to director, where I entered into the business world and actually was lucky enough to have a P&L of $120 million for somebody with a master's degree in computer science. That was pretty rare. But my boss had faith in me, and I actually learned on the job on how to manage business. As luck ever have, I actually grew the business pretty quickly in 3 years. most of you probably IT bubble. I took to start my own, and then very quick. International business consulting is not the easiest thing. We but in 2003 we encounter what we call and actually stopped me from traveling for 10 months. So these
Yeah. George, sorry to interrupt you there. There is a lot of interference there. I'm going to restart the room, and then I'll put up the presentation to see if that will correct some of the lagginess. It seems that as you're speaking, it continues to cut out there. It's quite unfortunate, but yeah, I'm going to restart it up right away. And for those that are joining us, thank you for joining us. Please come back into the room in just a moment here. I'm going to restart. I'm going to restart the browser here, and then
do I need to drop out?
Yes, you will. Yep.
Okay.
And then I'll have you come in and then raise your hand again.
Okay.
Yeah. Good. Okay. We'll see you guys in just a moment. Okay. Are you able to answer the room? Just going to get the chat going. How many folks can hear me right now? Okay. Your screen is up. I'm just going to quickly put up my slide. Oh my goodness. Can you hear me right now? You're good? Okay. I don't quite have George in the room yet. I don't have him in the room. Yeah, there are 3 rooms having issues. Oof. Thank you for your patience, folks. This is for sure unexpected. I don't. I'm not connecting with him in email or anything. Just kind of.
I sent him a message. So I'm waiting by LinkedIn.
What should I do? Should I end the keep the room open? Yes.
Say that we're waiting for
To the folks in the audience, I'd like to thank you very much for your patience. I'm just waiting for Mr. Mui to be able to join us back again. Trying to reach out to him. He might be having some internet connectivity issues at this time, but please be patient, and we're working to resolve this as soon as possible. I don't have any emails from him.
I've been trying to get him on trying to reach him on. Let me see. No, I made a mistake.
He says he's in. It won't let him raise his hand.
Keep chatting.
It's a regular email.
We can close the browser and start it up again. Start the browser. He needs to raise his hand.
It says he's in the room. It won't let him raise his hand. I suggested he refresh the browser or close the browser and reopen it.
40 minutes left. There's nothing for us to do.
He is at his son's house on a Wi-Fi connection.
Are you on mute when you're talking? While you're
Okay, George. I can't see you, unfortunately. I'd see that you are in chat, and we're chatting back and forth. It's cool that you could hear me, George. I wish the tables were turned at the present time. We do have some folks in the back looking into it here. Maybe there's one thing I can do here, George. I'm going to refresh my browser to see if that I can give your talk and you'll answer via chat. It comes best from the source directly there, George. I can't say that it would be amazing for me to be able to relay the same way that your expression and voice would be able to present. I'm going to refresh my browser here, George, and then that hopefully will reopen the ability for you to raise your hand.
Are you sharing or he's sharing?
This is my screen here.
He's not connecting yet?
Not yet, no. If you can hear me, George, will you try raising your hand once again? Okay, please give that a shot there, George. Hopefully that works. In the meantime, I'll entertain the crowd with a very lame joke. This is a joke for your entire family. What do you call a fish without an eye? Oh, Let's put the answers in the chat here. We have Carter, who's actively on the line. Carter, you are for sure correct. It is.
Not working.
He said he's going to restart his browser. Okay. Restarting his browser is good. George, we have you back online. Hopefully you can unmute yourself.
Well, that was a good talk.
Oh,
Well, we should totally try something different. How
yeah,
about you
that's.
present the slides?
Say it again, George.
How about you present the slides?
I present your slides. I don't have this material. I have like a handful of your stories, and they won't be as exciting. But what we can do is, well, I mean, it is your show. So
Yeah, why don't we advance it to skip the word, advance to the career
yeah,
journey.
okay, we got through there. You were talking about your 19 years AT&T Bell,
Yeah,
Lucent
let's
Technology,
quickly jump to my first segment, which was my first 20 years of my career, which is a very traditional career from a computer science person to a business person,
right?
right? And somewhere in between D. So go to the next slide. I'm gonna
Okay,
jump start this.
yeah,
So I want to share some of my key accomplishments and also see some of the key learning. And then we'll pause and let people ask questions. So when I entered Bell Laboratory, I was somewhat experienced a couple of years, but which is unique in AT&T Bell Laboratory and in this context, Asian American to be promoted in 4 years is pretty unique. And there's a tradition in Bell Laboratory, you wait for your turn, and I did not wait for my turn. Somehow I find enough knowledge of the process that I get promoted to a supervisor or technical manager. And I expand from the R&D side, which is something that I always want to do is more than just a programmer. From project management, planning, quality management, technical marketing, anything there's a very lot of young professional is find a way to maximize career by learning different discipline on the job. And I got promoted to technical manager in 4, and I got promoted director to 8, which is also unusual in AT&T Bell Laboratory and Lucent Technology, which is the same company at the time. And I switched over from technical marketing to business management, which is also unusual for the quote unquote AT&T system. And I was given a business to manage at $40 million. And for me, it was fantastic because I really learned a lot about business, a lot of trial and tribulations, but you learn. And one of the key learning I have is that coming out of school, I really have no training to be a manager. I learned how to manage tasks, not people, on the job training to be a manager of people and utilize, and this is something I encourage everyone to do, maximize professional development while you're on the job to learn how to be a manager and learn how to lead teams. I acquired business management skill. Actually, we continue education at AT&T. AT&T had at that time is what they call school business. That's like I think 14 to 20 classes that teach you about business acumen. Anybody could take it. Usually, R&D people don't take it, so I like the only R&D person in there. And then after I got promoted to director, I realized I'm really not quite there in terms of being able to manage the total P&L. So I went to Stanford for a couple of summers to learn about actually what we call market management and also a mini MBA. What is interesting to the whole twist is that because it's paid for by the company, it actually costs them more money I pay in total for my bachelor and my master's degree in 2 summers. Anyway, that's my first 20 years. I like to do, Mark, is pause, given that we waste so much time, to some Q&A, see what people are interested in learning for me to talk about in the whole idea of career transition. And we'll go over the next set later.
Okay. Sure, yeah. So please ask it in the chat. If you have any questions about moving through career transitions, the trajectory of George's path has not been it's not been a straight line. It's been more like a rather unique journey. Yes, a zigzag. So if anyone in the crowd has a question about that, I'm sure it will happen many times, particularly in IT, when George was talking about how he became a project manager rather than or managing people rather than just the work and projects that he's done.
Yeah, more education now in technical school have including a lot more management / business classes. Back then, it's all about compiler constructions, programming languages, algorithm. So
okay, we have a question from Mayo-kun. He asks, how was it transitioning to learn specific skills?
How is it? How was it? How did I do it?
I think he's clarifying his question here. Yeah, how was it transitioning when learning specific skills?
Yeah, one thing that IT students and computer science have going for them is really logical thinking and problem solving, and that's a distinct advantage for any professional in a corporation. You learn using logic and solving problem, and as example, career planning is nothing more than a process, and career planning and also in planning of a R&D project is nothing more than a process. And when we learn to program, we learn a process of creating something. So it's really, you could apply the discipline of a computer scientist or IT professional into every phase of R&D. And planning is one of them. Project management. There are project management classes that you could take. Don't tell anybody I didn't take any project management classes. I just kind of figure out this is why I need to get to, what are the basic steps. And because I was manager at the time, I expect my people to do it, so they know how to do it, and they get paid good dollar to do project managers. Mm-hmm. I learned what to do as a manager, ask the right question at the right time, and then put people in a position to do the job. Next question.
Okay. There aren't any other questions that are popping up, but I do have a question that people may be wondering then. When you're trying to transition to a new area that you have not worked in before,
yes,
how do you identify these opportunities? And did they just come to you? Did you have to go out there and seek the chance to either learn something new, or was it offered to you?
Offered to you.
Did you go out there, or did it just sort of fall in your lap?
Nothing is ever offered to you, Dean. I'm just telling you right now. It's something that my plan was to learn every discipline of R&D. Mm-hmm. So in fact, I'm writing an article on it right now for my training platform. It's called networking. Once you've identified what you want to do next, you really have to learn some of the process to get there, and meeting the right people who have access to this opportunity. Just give you one example. As a project manager, and I have to identify as what we call a highly promotable engineer. Mm-hmm. And I have a advisor mentor that says, George, you really need to learn how to manage a project, become a supervisor. I said, what about when I want to be a supervisor on programming? I said, you still have to manage a project, right, in R&D. So I took some classes on project management, not institution, but at AT&T Bell Laboratory, a lot of classes that I could take during my working hours. And then I network and meet people in project management. Learn about how do you really work a project management job, and more importantly, I met a director who has an opening in project management, and I got tapped to be the next project manager. It wasn't easy, but I did. So I would honestly say for every opportunity I get is through the people that know me and the people once to figure out that that's what I want to do. They actually give me the opportunity to do it. And most of the time is taking a chance. I'm very fortunate that you have people willing to take a chance on you. But that's how I transitioned. And one of the jobs I wasn't asking for is
Right.
quality management. That nobody wants to do it. Right?
Colleague management.
Quality management.
Oh, quality management. I see. Quality management.
And at that time, our project need to be ISO 9001 certified. And
that was popular.
I was told by my boss, you need to do this job. I said, no, hell no. And I'm not doing, I'm quitting. He said, George, I need you to do this because we need to get certified so that we can sell a product as ISO 9000. So I said, okay, you've been good to me. I'll do it. And I have to watch my language being recorded. Pain in the behind job because you have to convince all the other supervisor they need to follow quality process. At that time, it's not very popular. But I did it, and I got the attention of very senior management. We did it in record time, year and a half. I said 4 years. So I got a lot of recognition being able to manage people that way. So anyway.
Okay. We do have a few more questions popping up here then. If I'm just going to go through here, just really quickly then, we're going through key accomplishments. Do you wish to sort of veer away from the presentation?
Yeah, let's
field
do it
questions?
because like I said earlier, for 20 years, really systematic career planning, identify area opportunities, and find a way to get there. And nobody actually give me the job. But then very quickly, I realized that in year 2001, the Lucent Technology offer a really opportunity I couldn't refuse, which is full retirement at 47 with full pension. So I took it, and I went on my own. And if you back up one, so I actually went from went from corporate to my me and my partner was running around in Asia, looking at great opportunities, and it took me about a year and a half to get it. And then all of a sudden, I mentioned earlier, SAR hit, and I have a 7 project in Asia that got canceled because I can't go back for 10 months. So let's skip the next one.
Oh, okay.
So let's skip the next one. Now I am called by a friend that I have done a small business in between as an entrepreneur. Department of Commerce in Illinois to help small business. They asked me to be their center director, and it's that my path for beginning community services. Let's skip the next one. So my learning there is really how to deal with both businesses and the government at the same time. And let's go to the next one.
Okay. And actually, when you're saying dealing with both business and government at the same time, we'll take a quick question from Mark Nadel. Okay. He asks, how did you make the leap from commercial to government? How did you have to change? How did you need to evolve to succeed?
Very painfully. So as a corporate, I have like 14 MBA working for me. I have an assistant. I have enough people to help me structure even my travel. I got to show up and make a speech. As an entrepreneur, you really have to do everything yourself, right? Mm-hmm. Then when you're into this nonprofit, all of a sudden there's no support system, and there's a lot of things you cannot do as a nonprofit full of regulation. And we start working with the government people. There's even more regulations. You try to help people creatively, and you really can't. you have to follow the process, and which actually helped me dealing with the state level department about dealing with government. Now, if you go forward one more, going to the federal U.S. Department of Commerce, not by accident, but I did really want to go in there, but I went in there asking for a contract, and then they said, George, we it, and we just continue to have a drink, and then 6 months later, they said, hey, whatever you're proposing to do as a contract, we want to hire a full-time employee. And then 9 months later, I get into the government to do the kind of things I want the contract for, which is to help international business for minority business, help with technology company, and more importantly for me at the time is helping Asian American enter public service that way. And then while I was in Washington, D.C., I actually kind of taught my way into the White House Initiative, which is, you go one more slide, Mark, Dean.
Another one?
So this is a special assignment part-time with the White House Initiative, which is a unit in the White House that actually help to identify resources for, in this case, Asian American and Pacific Islanders across the nations. There, you really have to know how to leverage to that to help Asian American businesses. So that is kind of roughly my next 20 years is going from an entrepreneur to nonprofit, and then enter public service. So that is not a well-planned career journey, but one thing I learned is, again, adapting to the environment that you're in front of. So, but really, I want to go back to the questions that people might have if they have.
Sure. Yeah, okay, that'll bring us over to Carter Lambert. He asks, is the stress manageable the more experienced you are?
It gets better. I think now that I'm retired, I can manage stress a little better. But the idea, though, managing stress is really, for me, is a mindset. And I have learned to do this pretty well. When all my project got canceled, that I worked out a year and a half for when I was an entrepreneur with Korea, China, and Hong Kong, I was really stressed out because when you're an international business consultant, you cannot travel. Really, zero happens, right? Mm-hmm. And I was really stressed out. And at that time, my kids were not yet grown. I had to pay for colleges, so that was very stressful. A lot of people impose stress on themselves. There was stress imposed on me. Mm-hmm. So, but I very quickly adapted to, hey, if you can't do it international, you could do domestic. So I have to change it quite a bit. But again, every job opportunity, not just what I do. But to me, it's as simple as mindset, but as difficult as what they teach these professional counselors to do. So I don't know that answered the question, but
yeah. Okay, another one comes from Mayokun. What things have you done personally that you would say gave you the best benefits? I'm just going to say best benefits are either personal satisfaction or even monetarily, because it doesn't hurt to have money.
Yeah, well, the most money I make was in corporate private sector.
In the private sector, corporate.
Yeah. Not to point a number, it's pretty high, but I spend it all. So. But the most satisfaction, along the way for 40 years, one thing I leverage on is really my ability to network with people, right, and use the network. And that's how I got here in front of all you guys, right? Networking with Manuel over the years, using the network to help people. And it's very satisfying to see people that I help, even back in the corporate days, come up to me, George, and I used to do these non-solicited career management training where I call, there's like 2,500 Asian American in Bell Laboratory of 10,000. I had my secretary call 25 Asian Americans, said, Director George want to talk to you about career management. I kind of have her go down the list. I could get 25 once a month. And a lot of them actually come back, even now, today, say, Director George, thank you. And over the years, I have done quite a bit of that coaching. Now I'm actually creating a platform that actually get paid for it. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you did mention that in our previous talks. Maybe you can plug that at the end.
No, that's
talking
okay.
About the coaching platform.
We'll answer all the questions first.
Okay. I have a question. This is from Mayokun again. I'm looking to get into project management. What is the top skill that you would say I need? Are certifications very important?
Certification of what?
Probably project management or
yes,
things like PMP certification, for instance.
Yes, certification certainly is a requirement when you don't have the connection for people to give you a assignment and they consider risky. You can offset for some discipline that they trust that without the certification for your entire spectrum of abilities that you could actually do the job. For individual contributor, it's different than I was a manager at the time. I look for certification, right? The people I hire to be project manager, I need them to have certification. I don't need certification as a manager. So if you are coming out of school, it's best that you could get as many certification that fits your career path. Don't go crazy. You get certification that's kind of meaningless in your career path. Like if you're my son is in cloud computing, right? So I told him, you got to get every certification, Cisco, Microsoft, so on, have. Then when you go into it for a job, that might be the difference between you and another participant. But if I'm hiring you, you don't need a certification, son. But I'm not hiring you. So his relationship trumps the certification, but you don't have the relationship to get the job. You got to have certification. That's one of the minimal requirements. I always say it's like getting an MBA. You get the MBA, you hang on the wall, nobody's going to call you. But when somebody call you, they find out you don't have MBA, they might not give you the job. So that kind of thing.
Okay. And this is sort of a fun question coming from Carter Lambert. He asks, did you meet the president?
I actually, one of the pictures I will show you if you have time is I did meet the current President Biden when he was the vice president. But I was understaffed under Obama, but we never did shake hands. But I take a lot of selfies with him because he's just giving me a talk in front of the TV.
Yeah.
But no, I did not meet the president when they were president. I meet the president when they were vice president.
Okay. And I have another question coming here. This is also from Mayokun. And this is maybe related to think about your earlier career, maybe even when you were a new graduate, to put it into perspective for some of the people that are here.
Yes.
Have you had any professional setbacks, and how did you overcome
them? I have to say that in the corporate world, I really went through and got up to the director level. My career setback is really, in America, they talk about corporate ceiling for minorities. And for Asian American, it's called the bamboo ceiling. And bamboo ceiling hits about the first senior director level. It's very difficult for us as Asian American executive that get past that executive level, which is your vice president and quote unquote bamboo ceiling as senior director. So that might. And actually, I'm happy I did not, because the person that they were to promote me actually got written up in the Wall Street Journal. So I would have been written up too if I was in that little circle. But things will happen for a reason. Anyway, hopefully that answered the question. The idea is really for a young professional to think about but you figure out how you get to where you want to be. That's important.
You cut off at an important point there. You said, "Don't worry about."
Don't worry about setback
Oh, okay.
because you're gonna get them, and worry about how do you get to the point with the right level of planning. A lot of people have setback. Entrepreneur, I think most successful entrepreneur had at least 5 to 6 failed projects before they. First time out they hit a home run, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like the fishing. You got to go out fishing to catch fish, or you won't catch any fish. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, I would say I send you the fish I caught the last couple of days. I would say that we did about 200 to 500 casts to get to those few fish. So
yeah, and
actually, let me roll through some of the pictures, the fun pictures. See?
Yeah. Then we have a few more. Let's go.
Yeah, so my unlikely journey actually took me to China, Philippines a few times when I was with the Department of Commerce. Let's see what next picture. That's what people were looking for. Yes, I did have the opportunity to take a picture with the current president while he.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually flew a friend in New York, sneaked the back of the UN, which, well, I don't say sneak. She has the authority to go in.
Right.
That's my first time to go in the UN. And then at the White House, because we were doing an event there, we got opportunity to go to the White House. And next pictures.
Yeah. A quick question: is this the current First Lady, or am I incorrect thinking that this is
that's it.
Joe Biden's
current
sweetheart?
Current first lady.
Okay.
It's the same.
Yeah.
Dr. Jill. And this is, I don't know, Manuel is probably not watching this, but I want to show that your organizer and I have an unlikely meetings where he brought a group of students to Chicago from Mexico, and then we met again when he brought a group of students to my office in DC.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't hear from him for 3 months, 4 months, and then he's now in Paris in some kind of training. And then the next time I see him is 5 years later in Chicago when I went to the wrong gate, and there he was. And we've been able to keep in touch since. Yes.
This photo here, it does appear to be like that at the airport terminal or something here.
Yes. It was fun. But the idea is really, I want to encourage people, when you work with people, keep in touch because you never know how things will work out. And you could help each other that way too.
Yeah.
That's my reason and time, and is that when I was sitting in Washington in these not so fun meetings every other day, I keep dreaming about fishing. I said enough of this meetings, and I quit. I retired. Of course, I was 66 at the time, so it's not that I retired prematurely. Anyway, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. And Dean, you have my contact information. If any student actually want to reach out and ask more questions, I'll be happy to share.
Great. We still have about 5 minutes, and if I may ask a couple of the questions from the chat here. Yeah. This comes from Victoria Elizabeth, and your last name is cut off. Victoria, you must excuse me for not saying your last name. Her question is, any advice how we can reach someone to become our mentor?
In fact, as I have a whole paragraph for that in my, I'm writing an article. I'll be happy to share that with you, Dean. You can share with the rest of folks. I call it the art of networking.
The art of networking.
And one of the most useful tool for networking, not necessarily to go to an event, but in the process of you meeting people, take the time to get to know them, learn more about them. And you got to remember, it's not about you. A lot of people on that network keep telling people what they want, but learn about other people and help them perhaps you can help them with whatever project. Like I'm going to help Manuel, kind of like what you're doing, Dean, volunteering for this conference. I'm sure Manuel will get to know you, your skill set, your ability to handle the crazy George, right? It's learning your skill set, and then he could become your mentor, right? You don't purposely go ask Manuel to be your mentor. He would say, what? And this is how I start a lot of mentoring. I tell you, a lot of people come to me asking for, hey, can you give me a new customer? Can you help me get promoted? I said, oh, yeah, sure. But if people come to me and say, George, I know you do. Then I get to know them and see their skill, and I become their mentor. So, but there's a, the way I was writing an article is, it's not a cookbook that you could take. It's really an art into networking. It's not a science. Computer science. This is where computer science background students have some difficulty. They're looking for a formula, but there are things in the computer science world that cannot be solved, right? Like the what they call it, the blank tape problem, right? How do you stop tape this blank? Question, you got like 3 minutes.
Yeah, okay, we got 3 minutes. I just want to clarify that then. Maybe you can, the video might cut off at the end, so I must apologize in advance. I mentioned it previously, but George, would you be able to talk about your beginning when you were networking? Okay, you just said moments ago, build a relationship with people, don't try and take from them, rather share with them what you can offer. But if you have limited things to offer, building that relationship is how the networking should begin in the early stages.
Anybody get to this
point for professional?
Anybody get to this point as an IT students in a major college that they have a set of skill. Otherwise, they can't get there. Now, networking to get to somebody who can help you is not necessarily the easiest thing, but it's easier when you could get to a focus people you could help. And for example, I'll give you an example. If a student wants to meet a mentor, a director in some corporation, it's difficult for the student to go to the director, hey, I'd like you to be mentor. Instead, I would recommend this. Create a program where you are helping other students, and you invited the director to come to your forum to talk about whatever topics. And then he will see your skill set as a coordinator, as a convener, a leader. And then the secondary benefit is now you have, perhaps over time, you could find this director in a corporation as a mentor. So it's kind of indirect way of getting it. And I tell you, this is exactly what I do. I look at in that time was a vice president, happened to be Asian American. I see what he's doing outside his main task, right? And what he was doing is trying to organize a Asian American forum for people, supervisors. I happen to be one of them, but he doesn't have time to do it. So I became his organizer. And in fact, that's the guy who actually recommended me to another director about getting my a job in the technical marketing, which is close to businesses. So, full working and support other people, you develop relationship. So, and this is part of what I try to articulate in my paper. Help others, and eventually it happens that other people will come help you.
Great. Okay, and we have 24 seconds left. There's one question from our question leader from our leaderboard, Mayo-kun. He's asking, he's my mate. He's right here beside me. Can we also connect with you on LinkedIn? And if there's any one person that you could do that with.
Do you know my LinkedIn?